What up, guys? January 29th, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about health, big pharma topics. We'll be going over vaccines, we'll be touching on GMOs, we'll be talking about the potential causes and treatments of diseases like Alzheimer's and cancer. So let's go ahead and get started. First article here, we're going to be touching on Alzheimer's, and this one comes by way of the New Scientist. They're saying we may finally know what causes Alzheimer's and how to stop it. And what they're claiming, this brand new study, it's always a new study, right? This new study is claiming that gum disease, bacteria of the mouth, basically gingivitis bacteria, is the main cause of Alzheimer's. And there's this new drug in the works that helps to decrease the rates of Alzheimer's, treat it, cure it, reverse it even, they're claiming. I call BS, me personally. Let me tell you why. The reason I think this is BS is because, first of all, when you look at Alzheimer's, heavy metals. Heavy metals are a major cause. I never like to say there's one cause for a disease because there's usually many causative factors in each disease, illness, or dysfunction. But when it comes to Alzheimer's or really any neurodevelopmental dysfunction such as Alzheimer's or autism or learning disorders, etc., look at heavy metals. Mercury, aluminum, fluoride, not a heavy metal, but a neurotoxin nonetheless. Look at these neurotoxins in our lives, in our environments, in our diets, in our dental products like fluoride. These are extremely neurotoxic, and they can all cross the blood-brain barrier and mess up your nervous system. So when it comes to Alzheimer's, look at that. Look at aluminum and fluoride especially. So things like vaccines, cookware, what do we store our foods in? What are we brushing our teeth with? What's been sprayed over our heads for decades? What's in those geoengineering aerosols, right? These are the real causes of Alzheimer's, not bacteria in your mouth. Bacteria in your mouth is a side effect. It's an effect of a underlying cause, much like Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is an effect. It's a dysfunction stemming from an underlying cause. People with bad breath probably have a lot of heavy metals in their bodies, much like people with Alzheimer's generally have tons of heavy metals in their bodies and in their brains. So when it comes to big pharma, correlation does equal causation when they want it to. Say when it comes to autism, and you say vaccines cause autism, they'll say, oh, correlation doesn't equal causation. But when you run articles like this in the New Scientist, Big Pharma will say, yeah, correlation equals causation when we want to make new drugs, get money for research, sell those drugs. You see what I'm saying? So there's what I have to say about that. And what's funny in this article, it says right here, these new drugs might stop and even reverse Alzheimer's. There could even be a vaccine. A vaccine for Alzheimer's? Talk about backwards world, right? The age of spin we live in. Vaccine for Alzheimer's. Vaccines are one of the major causes of Alzheimer's. It's ridiculous for them to say, but good segue into our next topic. Let's talk vaccines. So in Washington State here, Governor Jay Inslee is declaring a public health emergency as measles continues to spread. We have measles outbreaks allegedly going on around the country right now. But what's funny, state of emergency here in Washington State over measles. Oh, people are going crazy, up in arms. But if you actually go to the cdc.gov website and look at their current outbreak list, check this out, U.S.-based outbreaks. Recent investigations reported on cdc.gov. They have not listed anything about measles in this country. Look at that. Even all throughout 2018, back to March 2017, no outbreaks of measles. The only outbreak we have in January of 2019 is salmonella from pet hedgehogs. Shoot, you can bet the CDC is rolling out a hedgehog vaccine looking at this. But no. So really, is this measles outbreak, state of emergency, public health scare? I mean, it seems just like fake news fear porn to drive up vaccine sales and to scare people into thinking they need vaccines and into also giving the mainstream media a very easy way to spread a bunch of propaganda attacks against anti-vaxxers. Wow, so do we even have measles outbreaks going on, And not just that, but in this supposed state of emergency in the state of Washington here, there's only like 30 people that have measles or have been claimed to have measles. I haven't actually seen a list or the official details, but 31 people? State of emergency over 31 people that have a pretty benign disease in measles. Wow, but then we have how many tens of thousands of people per year get a vaccine injury, and then Big Pharma just claims, oh, it's rare. Vaccine injury is rare. Tens of thousands of people get vaccine injury. That's rare. But then 30 people get measles, and that's a state of emergency. Big Pharma logic on display for you there. Pretty ridiculous. And still on the topic of vaccines, a few more articles I want to share for you guys. Seeing a lot of vaccine propaganda in the mainstream media as per usual, but they're really working the name and shame game with their propaganda. And not just this, but they're really trying to attack the psychology. They're trying to make people think that anti-vaxxers are crazy or that they're getting caught up with, quote, misinformation, basically easily duped. Not the case at all. We'll talk that. But let's go into talking about the name and shame propaganda that we're seeing. So, this article by The Hill came out a few days ago, is trying to attack the anti-vaxxers. This is one angle they're using. They're trying to attack anti-vaxxers. So in Minnesota, we have 2 individuals that are on a statewide council there in their legislature. It's an autism council, and 2 of the 30 members are well-known members of the anti-vaccination movement. So The Hill is just marginalizing these people, putting them on blast, discrediting them, putting their names out there, trying to attack them. It's that name and shame game. So vaccine skeptics are getting attacked. At the very same time, proponents of vaccines are getting put on a pedestal. Here in the New Yorker, we have an article being run about a nurse fighting what they're saying is vaccination fears in her community. This woman is in Brooklyn, hence the New Yorker, and they are putting her on a pedestal. They are kissing her ass because she is trying to fight what they're calling anti-vaccination fears. Fears. All these anti-vaxxers, they're so scared. They're getting caught up with the misinformation. No, they're not scared. They're logical. The people who are scared are the pro-vaxxers. You're going to get diseases. You're going to get measles. You're going to get sick. Oh my gosh, what if you die? That's the fear porn. The anti-vaxxers aren't scared at all. They're actually very smart individuals who are saying, no, I'm not going to get caught up with that fear porn. I'm healthy. As long as I keep myself healthy, there's nothing to worry about. No fear there, right? So you can see they are attacking vaccine skeptics, propping up vaccine proponents, and this is very confusing. This is very contradicting here in the mainstream media. This is a ABC News article I found just this morning. But let's look at this headline. Read this with me. Parents who don't vaccinate kids tend to be affluent and better educated, experts say. Okay. Yeah, I would agree with that. Parents who don't vaccinate their kids are better educated, completely. But then it says vaccines are universally backed by respected scientists and federal agencies, but that isn't enough to convince every parent to vaccinate their children. So they're saying that even though these people are better educated, that they're still falling for misinformation. That's what they're claiming. But I guess then they're not educated, right? They're literally contradicting themselves in this article. Their propaganda is so flimsy. Their efforts are so pathetic. They're so desperate to run propaganda, of course, not just about vaccines, but every other topic out there. Q, politics, UFOs, cancer, GMOs, etc., etc. We'll talk GMOs and cancer in a sec, but they're just completely contradicting themselves. Heck yeah, people who don't vaccinate are better educated, but the respected scientists and federal agencies who back vaccines, they're the ones that are not educated by their logic of this article, right? I don't know. Wanted to point that out to you guys. Okay, let's move on to GMOs. So we have yet another article, this one coming out of NPR in recent days, saying that people strongly against GMOs had shakier understanding of food science. Study finds. Well, that's 100% false, because much like that vaccine article we just read where it said parents who don't vaccinate are better educated, people who strongly oppose GMOs are actually the better educated ones. Again, backwards world, spin zone we're in here. So usually whenever you see a mainstream media article, just reverse that 180 degrees, just turn around. That's usually the case. Let's take out this against, and let's put for. People strongly for GMOs have a shakier understanding of food science. Yeah, makes a lot more logical sense there. And in fact, looking at the genetically engineered issue, I've been linking I always try to link as many documentaries and resources, et cetera, as I can, that you guys can go do your own research with, go down your own rabbit holes with. And when it comes to GMOs, Genetic Roulette is a fantastic documentary and book. Really, Jeffrey Smith of the Institute of Responsible Technology puts out a lot of great resources, books, documentaries like Genetic Roulette, where he has an amazing amount of scientists, PhDs, researchers putting out science right there for you on a plate, showing you GMOs are extremely toxic. They harm our earth, they harm our biosphere, our environment, and they're really harmful for our DNA and our gut and our brain and all sorts of processes in our bodies. So, no. Lots of good science out there showing that GMOs are extremely harmful. And another one of those resources that I often like to link and go to myself is GreenMedInfo, greenmedinfo.com, founded by naturopathic Dr. Sayer G here. This is an incredible website for all sorts of actual scientific research articles, published articles that he has gathered and put into this resource on all sorts of natural health topics. So GreenMedInfo, highly recommend it. But this article that came out yesterday from GreenMedInfo says GMO foods will soon be mislabeled as biofortified. Okay, so let's prove NPR wrong here. In people strongly against GMOs actually have a great understanding of food science. Let's talk about it. So this article written by lawyer Scott Tips, very good article, goes on to discuss how at the Codex Alimentarius Commission, which is a commission that meets in Europe and basically establishes food standards and guidelines worldwide every year. The Codex Alimentarius has been going on for a long, long time, actually. Codex Alimentarius, what they're doing is they're trying to rebrand GMOs under the umbrella term, the very vague umbrella term of biofortification. So as the headline states here, GMO foods will soon be mislabeled as biofortified. It's exactly what the deep state tries to do, especially in their big pharma area, but the deep state, in general. Whenever the public starts to wake up, starts to understand the bullshit they're being sold, they just try to rebrand it, right? And at least in terms of big pharma and health, it's much like aspartame, the toxic artificial sweetener, aspartame. That got renamed and rebranded as NutraSweet. They try to come out with a word or a name that sounds much better. Ooh, NutraSweet. No, that shit's freaking aspartame. You don't want that in your body. So if you hear the word, ooh, it's biofortified. This snack here, this food here, wow, it's biofortified. For the unaware, ignorant public, that's going to sound a lot better than looking at the label and saying, oh, it's genetically modified. I don't want genetically modified, but I do want biofortified. Little do they know, it could be the same damn thing. So you have to be very, very careful about wording. Literally, understand what each word means, okay? Ingredients, wordings. It's a very, very tricky world we live in. English language itself, but very tricky world the way that the deep state tries to manipulate you through language, okay? So now moving on to the last topic here, we went through Alzheimer's, vaccines, GMOs, now on to cancer. 2 articles I have to share with you on that. First one, out of the Big Think, kind of a mainstream website, not so much thinking I see going on it, but I do want to comment on this article they put out. Scientists may have found a way to kill cancer cells without chemotherapy. They claim that chemo is our best response to cancer so far. Not the truth. And they're saying a novel new therapy could render it obsolete. So this gets into the idea of immunotherapy. Immunotherapy is this new sort of cancer therapy that's been pushed into the mainstream lore that's been sold to the public over the last few years as being this great potential new treatment for cancer and other diseases. Immunotherapy, let's target the immune system to start combating cancer, which in theory actually makes sense. Target a natural process in the body to attack cancer cells. But the thing is, with immunotherapy, they're not targeting the natural processes in a natural way. With immunotherapy, it's big pharma basically, again, they're trying to rebrand cancer therapy. A lot of people are waking up to chemo and how bad it really is, how toxic it is, and how ineffective it is. So big pharma is trying to create a new treatment for cancer that they can patent, they can sell for a lot of money, that still makes you need to go to big pharma to get treated for cancer. Okay? Cancer is curable naturally. It's been done. I've seen it done. I mean, you can do it. All you need to do is change your diet, your lifestyle, your mindset, your environment. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's absolutely possible. And if you educate yourself about yourself, you become very self-aware, you change what you need to change, and you apply that knowledge, you can do it. It's possible. Big Pharma doesn't want you to realize that nature itself can heal. Big Pharma wants you to think that you need to go to them to heal with very expensive drugs. That, immunotherapy sounds nice. Is it necessary? No. So that's my thoughts on that. Not just that, but one last article here about curing cancer. This one coming out of the Jerusalem Post, because scientists in Israel say that they think they found a cure for cancer. We believe we will offer in a year's time a complete cure for cancer. So again, they say they're going to have a complete cure for cancer. All right, even if it's cheap, even if it's easy, even if it's non-toxic, is it necessary? No. Big Pharma is not going to teach you how to prevent cancer. They're not going to teach you how to live a lifestyle where cancer isn't even a thing. Imagine that. If we all started changing ourselves, our environment, society would change. Cancer would not be 1 in 3 or 1 in 2, right? Imagine that. If we just got taught correct information. Geez, what a world we would have. But right here, Israeli scientists thinking they found a cure for cancer. Again, cancer is curable. There's many methods that can assist in this process, such as the Gerson therapy, MMS, Hoxi therapy, SEACT, lots of great natural means to assist in the healing of cancer. But like I've been saying, Big Pharma won't tell you that. They want you to go to them to heal. Whether it's immunotherapy, chemotherapy, this new cure for cancer out of Israel, whatever the case is. Backwards world of spin, guys, world of spin. So I'm going to keep doing these videos trying to help you navigate through all of this nonsense, especially with health. Huge passion of mine, but with so many different topics out there. Thank you for watching. Appreciate all of your guys' support. Remember, you can go to jordansather.com, sign up for the newsletter there. Of announcements that I have, things that I have to share. Remember, go follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Subscribe here if you're not. Get yourself notified, and you'll be hearing much more from me. Done.